All right, what's going on YouTube? This is BoxingWave. All right, so listen, I wanted to talk a little bit about Joshua and his thoughts on the fight being split 50-50 with Wilder and Fury, the whoever wins that fight. All right, Eddie Hearn came out and made some comments basically saying like, at this point the winner may have possibly make the fight 50-50. This is what Hearn came out and said. Joshua responded to that. Okay, and I also want to speak a little bit on Lou Dibella. In fact, let's start talking about Lou Dibella. Lou Dibella, uh, there was an interview, an IFL TV interview that just dropped, and it's like a half hour Lou Dibella interview, and he's talking about the heavyweight division and stuff like that. He's talking about the fights coming out with Jojo Diaz and stuff. So they get to a point where they speak a little bit on Wilder and Fury, and then Lou DiBella comes up, and he's very salty in this interview. Like he's just really nasty. He seems pissed off. It just come off as if he's just tired of the politics of sport. I mean, we all are. I mean, I know I am. I've been tired of this shit since I had a boxing channel. But yo, they bring up Wilder. And he basically said that he got let go. He's no longer doing any work with Wilder and the PBC at this point. And it's because he tried to make the deal with the zone. Okay, the $100 million deal that happened last year that fell through. He's talking about that, where Wilder was supposed to, they was offering Wilder like $120 million deal to fight Brazil and Anthony Joshua twice on the zone. All right. Now we all know that Wilder is with the PBC, he's with Fox Sports and everything. And we know that Joshua is with the zone, all right, and fights for Sky Sports. He has, a contract with them. So anyway, basically Lou DiBella is the one, even though he was promoted for Wilder fights for a while, and it's funny because I did hear him say that in an interview a while ago, like sometime last year, but for some reason I didn't take him literally when he said that because he's in most of his interviews he's still so pro Wilder that I thought that he was still working with them. I just like even in this interview he said he's said this and addressed this before, but even when he addressed it, I didn't really take him literally. And most of the YouTube community, the channels here, have been making videos about this topic today because they pretty much are all just as shocked as I am, you know? So he makes this interview and he sounds very salty. And this is the thing, like, look, this is the way I look at it. And I listened to some videos and some channels has made some good videos about it. But they're basically going with, see, this further proves that Team Wilder, Al Heyman, PBC, whoever you want to bring up, Shelly Finkel, whatever. These guys were never trying to make the Joshua fight. This is what is being said by people on YouTube, right? And cool. All right? We've been going back and forth about this for the past few years now, right? Cool. But this is the thing. This is the catch. All right? And this is coming from a Lou DiBella, a guy that when he was pro PBC, pro Wilder, he was singing a different tune. Now that things ain't working out so much, he was playing Mr. Innocent. Oh, I'm the guy that was trying to work out a deal. I was trying to make the fight happen. I was trying to do the best. Whatever. Didn't work out. They drop him. And you gotta be pissed off about that because you want to be involved in that fight. Whenever that fight happens between Wilder and Joshua or any other additional Wilder fight, you want to be making money from that. So now that you got let go, you're a little bit salty. And see, this is the thing. I keep it really consistent on this channel. I try to keep it as consistent as possible. Sometimes we change our views and opinions on things, but this is the way I look at it. See, when you're singing a different tune because now you're not working with the team and now you're the enemy, it's like now you talking different. And that's the way I view it. And I say this every time, and I'm very consistent. I do not like promoters. I do not like boxing promoters. I don't like anyone that's orchestrating these fights. They all annoy me. Managers, advisors, promoters, sanctioning bodies, they're all part of the reason why this sport is not giving us the fights that we should be getting. So what I'm not gonna do is now, because Lou DiBella has suddenly decided to be honest, because he says in this interview too, if you watch it further, he says there's a point in the interview, he's like, yeah, well, you know, I, I don't care. I just say whatever now because I don't care no more. I'll keep it honest. I'll be honest. I'll say whatever. I don't care about what I say anymore. Well, so you weren't keeping it honest before? Because when you were riding for Wilder and the people, and 80% of the time, I ride with Joshua when it comes to this, because I think on both ends, it's a little bit of both of their faults. But for the most part, I agree with Team Joshua. You know, you guys know that. You guys been around. You guys know. But the thing is, like, now that this guy is not dealing with the PBC, now he wants to be honest and open and all this stuff, and we just supposed to believe him just because he says it now, even though I've seen interviews with him where he's just stuttering over his words and contradicting himself, just like every other promoter. You know, uh, these guys all do it. They're all contradicting themselves. They all change their tunes depending on the relationship with the boxer or the network or the other promoters or whatever. They all change their tune. They're promoters. They're not fighters. They don't have to get in the ring. They can lie, say whatever the hell they gotta say in order to make the fight happen or get the public on their side. They will say it. So how do I feel about Lou saying that? I mean, it really doesn't prove anything. I mean, whatever I believe going into this is what I believe without Lou telling me. Because at the end of the day, he's still a promoter. And all of these guys are like slithery snakes. They'll say whatever to get out of whatever. Now I understand, I give him credit for promoting fights and putting fights together and stuff like that. But that's what you're supposed to do. Put fights together. I'm not going to give credit to a dad that's bragging about being a good dad to their kids. Why would I? You're supposed to do that. You're a father. You're supposed to do that. You're supposed to be a good dad. You're supposed to be a good mom. I'm not going to give you credit for you bragging about being a good father. Oh, I'll take care of my kids. That's the way I view promoters. You're supposed to put the fights together. So Lou saying that, listen, I don't need Lou to confirm anything for me at this point, now that he's bitter. I already know that Wilder turned down over $100 million to not fight Anthony Joshua. I already know that. I don't need Lou to confirm what I already knew. I already knew Wilder turned the money down. Okay? I want to speak more on that too. Um, about this thing. Now, I basically said that to say this. Listen, all right, whatever. Lou, you're not working with Wilder anymore. Okay. You try to put the fight together. Cool. That's what promoters do. You got laid off because of that. I mean, is that the only reason why? Is there more to it? It could be more to it. I'm not saying he's lying, but I'm not going to tell you that I believe everything he says just because he said it today. And anyone that's pro Joshua has been defending Joshua all these years. I'm sure you've slandered Lou DiBella in the past. So we're just going to believe him now? Because he said that? It's like the Wilder people. The people that are anti Joshua, the PBC fanboys, they will tear Bob Arum up. But as soon as Bob Arum says something that's anti Eddie Hearn, oh, they're cheerleading. First ones. But these are the guys that have been slandering Bob Arum for years. Slandering, you know, uh, anybody that's been, anti Wilder at any point. It's like Tyson Fury. You know, they'll bring up how this guy contradicts himself over and over again, but as soon as he says something negative about Anthony Joshua, they're cheerleading again. I'm not doing that. I don't like Lou. I don't like Eddie. I think some are better than others, yes. I don't like Bob. I don't like Oscar. I don't like Al. I don't like any of them because they are ruining the sport. Yes, they are able to put fights together, but when it comes to the A level, well, the top money makers of the sport, the bigger names of the sport, those top 20 to 30 names, they give us a hard time trying to put fights together. And that's why I have an issue with them. All of them. Some I think are better than others. Yes, I do. I'll say that. Yeah, some are better than others. But overall, I don't really like any of them, to be honest. Because they are ruining the sport because of their personal greed and their personal beefs that they have amongst each other. At the end of the day, it's all about business with them. And this sport is not regulated like the NBA or the NFL or the NHL or whatever other sport that's out there. Boxing is a whole its own lane. It's like a quick hustle when it comes to sports. The sports world. It's like the quick hustle. All right? It's like a scheme. It's a scam. It's sketchy. It's not like the other sports. Anyway, let's talk about Joshua in his comments. So Eddie Hearn came out and said something about, making a Wilder Fury fight winner a 50-50 fight. Joshua has come back and basically said, I don't see why it would be 50-50. It should be a 70-30 fight between whoever wins, between the two of them. Now, this is how I look at it. I'm very pro Joshua. Very pro Joshua. There's things that he said and done that I didn't really like, and I called him out on it. But I'm very pro Joshua. I like him. You know. What I will say is this: what Anthony Joshua is going to have to figure out is when your career is done, and like when you hang up the gloves and it's all over. When it's all over, right? You're making all this money. You're making all this money. You're gonna keep making more if you remain healthy and stuff. You've made a ton of money. You've lost the fight. You were able to become a new champion again and win it back, and all good. When your career is over, right? I understand this is a business and this is about making bread. I feel you on that. I feel you on that. And I understand why you feel like it should be a 70-30 split. I feel you on that too. I feel you on that. All right? On a business tip, when you were making 30 million or whatever to fight, I don't know who you were fighting a couple years ago, maybe Povetkin, maybe who was before Povetkin? I can't remember. Carlos Takam, something like that. When you were making all this money to fight in large stadiums, Wilder was still making 1-2 million per fight. You know, what did he clear like 2 million to fight someone dangerous like Luis Ortiz? Not really making a lot of money. You know, I understand when you offered the 15 million a couple years back. I understand that at that time that was like 7 times bigger than whatever Wilder was making. You know, um, so I understand all of that. I get it. All right. Even Wilder's biggest purse is very, very small compared to what Joshua's making consistently. Because you go out in London, those guys are bigger fans. It is what it is. These guys show up. They show up. I seen Joshua fight here in the Garden. All those fans were from London. They were out there. They were in the building. They ran Madison Square Garden that day. So I get it. Those fans are bigger boxing fans. Fact. That's not even opinion, bias, or that. If you really believe that Americans are bigger fans of boxing today than those people out there, you're delusional. Or you may just not know. You might just be ignorant to the fact. You might just be ignorant to it. You might just not know. You might be stuck in the 90s. Cool. But what I'm trying to say here is When it's all said and done, do you really want this fight to be made by any means necessary? Now, I know how you may feel like these guys is hustling you because you put in all the work to become a star, to build up your name, fighting the tougher fights consistently just to let a guy come in and make the same amount of money you making. I know how you feel about that, brother. I feel you on that. But you got to ask yourself, what exactly do you want at this point of your career? Because Wilder has done some things, some, since you beat Klitschko. Because at that point, you was at the very top. You beat Klitschko. That put you there. And you're still there, but you're there. Like, that's where you're at. Like, you're at the top. It's nothing else you've done to bring that, go past that. And the only fights that are available right now for you to reach an even higher level is beating Wilder or Fury. More so Wilder. Because that's the fight that more people want more. People want to see you fight Wilder more. People probably wanted to see you fight Wilder more back when you beat Klitschko. Only because Klitschko had already lost to Fury at that point, and Klitschko was out for 2 years. Now it still was a huge fight, and that was your biggest fight at this point. But the biggest fight is between you and Wilder, wherever you guys have it at. If you have it out in Saudi Arabia, if you have it out in the UK, it's gonna be a huge fight. Wherever the fight is gonna be, even if it's out in Vegas, it's gonna be a huge fight. It's gonna be a big fight. It's gonna generate more money than whatever fight you've reached at this point. You don't need Wilder. You don't need him. He doesn't solidify your career, but he is your direct rival, and he's your most demanding opponent. Period. Fact. You have to make a decision on what you want. When I hear you say 70-30 split, that should have been the offer when you guys offered 15 million. Now, the fight might have still not have happened, but at least you offered a percentage. And that's the one issue I've had with all, or at least on Joshua's end, that I've had with all of these offers. A lot of money for Wilder. Absolutely. It was a lot of money for Wilder every single time based on what Wilder was making. The 15 million, the 12 that turned into 15, the $120 million deal with the zone. A shitload of money. Absolutely. But it was always a fixed rate. I'm not even going to bring up the 50 million. Not going to even bring it up. Because 50 million is laughable now. And that was just last year. And that was just a funny, weird thing because Wilder offered it on social media, and then gave him a day, and then it was all like a BT Sports. It was a lot of bullshit behind that. But regardless, it should have never been a fixed amount. Period. On either side. Wilder and his team should have been offering 50 million. And even though Joshua is the A side, should have just been a percentage from jump. And then you work it out from there. It was a little bit wrong. I agree with Joshua because he is the A side. And he still is the A side. Because we're not talking about, if we're talking straight business, this guy is earning way more. I mean, look, if Floyd and Pacquiao can agree to 60-40, they weren't even 50-50. I don't see why Joshua and Wilder should be 50-50. But if these guys are serious and willing not to budge at all, unless it's 50-50, then Joshua has to figure out, am I willing to give this guy 50% of the purse to get this legacy fight? Do I really want it that bad? I mean, Joshua haters ain't gonna respect it. anyone that has any kind of sense is going to respect it, because you're earning way much more than what Wilder is right now. Yet you were willing to really give him the bag just to get him in the ring because you wanted him that bad. I'm not saying you have to do it. I'm just saying that may have to be the only options. And even though I get you, even if he is to beat Tyson Fury, let's say he knocks Fury out the next two fights back to back. That's a damn good name to have on your resume. And I'm sorry, but I would have to agree. Both Fury beating Wilder and Wilder beating Fury, it will probably be the best win you can have right now on the heavyweight division. Even more so than having a knockout win against Klitschko and Povetkin and White, and those are all great wins. Better than the majority of Tyson Fury and Wilder's win. I mean, I said it plenty of times before. Joshua has the best resume without a doubt. But if Fury wins the fight, and I'm speaking mainly because of Wilder, because I think the Fury fight, if he is to beat Wilder twice or whatever way that they have the fight, if he is to beat Deontay Wilder, I'm sure they will have no issues with making that fight with Joshua. I don't think that fight would be that hard to make. But if Wilder beats Fury, you're gonna have a tough time making a fight with these guys because you already had a tough time making a fight with these guys. And you're going to have to decide how much you're willing to give on the business tip in order to make the fight. That's all I'm saying in this video. It's going to be up to you. Are you going to take the loss financially in order to make the fight? I understand why you want 70-30. Cool. What I'm saying is it may not be that way. And you may have to cough up more. You know, if Wilder beats, see, that's the thing with me, and I'm gonna end it like this. If Wilder beats Fury twice or whatever, right, and you win your fights, say you beat Pulev, let's say you beat Usyk. If you fight Usyk before you fight Wilder or Fury, whatever. My thing is this: I really don't care as a fan. I'm really not that kind of fan. That's like, you're never gonna hear me say, "Well, I don't care if you don't fight Wilder. Go and do your thing." No, because I'm not satisfied. I, as a fan of yours, especially, and I like Wilder too. The thing is, people, I get angry. I put, I have higher expectations for Deontay Wilder because he's an American fighter. So I get pissed off when they've made some of the moves they made. I do have a higher expectation. I've said this. People get mad at me because they feel like I go so hard on Wilder, and I do, because I have higher expectations for him. I don't have the same expectations for Joshua, because even though I'm a big fan of his, he doesn't represent us, and I've said this plenty of times on here. Wilder represents us, and I don't feel like he's represented. But I will never sit here and say that, you know what, don't even fight Wilder. Who cares? I've heard Wilder on, especially on YouTube. There's plenty of channels that say all the time, like, yo, he don't even need to fight Joshua. He don't even need to fight him. Go, leave him alone. Go do your thing. They ain't no real fan, bro. You ain't no real boxer fan if you cool with them never fighting. What's wrong with you? That's the difference between me and them. I'll never, like, as much as I like Joshua, I will never say that's okay. Because as a fan, I just want to see the fight. Whatever you make, that's not, I mean, that, it really, honestly, it's none of our business. But you guys are negotiators and businessmen and promoters so much now, the fighters. And now you guys are throwing money around there in every interview just because they ask. You don't have to tell us what you want financially. I don't give a shit. I just want to see the fight. So I'm going to close this out. I basically believe the fight will happen, win or lose. If Joshua loses, If Joshua loses in his next couple fight or Wilder loses, I think the fight is going to happen regardless. If they both win their next couple fights, I think the fight is going to go down. I do believe, I do extreme. I think in 2021, not this year. I think in 2021, the fight will definitely happen. Win or lose, whoever's wherever the fight will happen. I think the fight will happen. All right. Um, I don't think these two are gonna actually retire without ever having to fight each other. You know, I don't believe it. And there's a part of me that believe that they're just both trying to draw this out, like Floyd and Pacquiao did, because it is the biggest fight. So why not draw it out as long as you can? That's why I don't go too hard anymore about it. There's other channels that make videos about this every single day. I'm not going that hard. I'll make a video here and there, but I'm not gonna go that hard. All right. So that's just an update on how I feel about this whole situation, man. Just make the fight. I understand. I understand why Joshua wants 70-30. But what I won't understand and accept is you guys never fighting each other. I won't accept that. Because we, as boxing fans and consumers, we subscribe to these zones and stuff. We wanna see the fights. You know? Alright, so I'm gonna leave it at that, man. Peace.